Fist at 7 minutes. Okay. And then the question.
I'll do the seconds countdown once I get the timer up.
Okay. And then the question is: should Venezuela's opposition party continue boycotting elections?
Topic. All right, and again, we have the 7 minute speech. You want 1 minute checks at 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
And then just a C at 30 seconds left, and then just a fist at 7 minutes.
Okay, so it's Black Power at 7 seconds or 15 seconds?
Just the fist at 7.
Okay.
So like once time is fully gone.
Gotcha. Into that. All right, you're up.
Within Latin America, there are countless issues. Governments that are not recognizing the legitimacy of their elections. Governments that are arresting people countless times over. And governments where former leaders are being arrested for trying to hold coups over their government. And the fact that each and every individual example I just named was a different country is concerning. But out of any country within the region, one stands much greater as a threat than any other: Venezuela. Specifically because Euronews reports on May 26th of 2025 that the government is not helping its people. It's only imprisoning and making those people suffer. And so, as a result, the opposition leader, Maria Machado, called for a boycott on all further Venezuelan elections. So considering how those elections have wide-ranging effects on the government of Venezuela, but also how that will inevitably trickle down to the people as well, it becomes absolutely critical that we ask today's question. Should Venezuela's opposition party continue boycotting elections? To which we see that the answer is absolutely, because the benefits are numerous, and we can see these benefits in 3 main ways. First, by taking a look at the pressure that's being created by these boycotts. Second, by taking a look at the generation of international support. And finally, by taking a look at how these elections are illegitimate to begin with. The first way that we see that the Venezuelan opposition party should continue these boycotts is by taking a look at the pressure that's being created. These boycotts stand for one reason and one reason only, that of which the conversation explains on May 21st of this year: to pressure the government of Caracas to create change. And while in most democratic countries this would probably happen, the opposition party also knows that in an authoritative regime like that of the government in Caracas, that's not going to happen. But in fact, that's exactly what the opposition party is hoping for. When we take a closer look at a previous protest that occurred in 2018, we see a very similar type of ideal. In fact, the BBC quantifies for us on April 17th of 2024 that what happened back in 2018 was that the people of Venezuela called for fairer elections, increasing voting rights to all within the country. And of course, the government in Caracas knows that this is a bad idea. So they go ahead and implement this policy and then manipulate the election to where they win regardless. And yet, that manipulation came out. International news stations across the world called out the government for their actions. And that's exactly what the opposition party is hoping for now. Hoping that the government will respond to their pressure and they will misstep. And in that misstep, they can generate enough support to create actual change within the country, not fake change generated by a fake government. The second way that we see that the opposition party should continue these boycotts is through that of international support. The international community has long condemned the government in Caracas. In fact, Reuters explains on January 17th of this year that after the election in 2024, numerous Western countries like the United States, United Kingdom, France, Spain, and Australia all condemned that election, calling for Maduro to step down and to create fundamental change for the people of Venezuela. But, of course, international action is needed, because just calling for something is not going to make a regime like that of the Maduro administration to step down. but that's exactly what the opposition party is hoping to see. As the Center for Strategic and International Studies explains, on October 27th of 2024, economic sanctions, when the government in Venezuela inevitably does not step down, is exactly what is needed. Because government officials are going to face problems, and they may go to Maduro, hoping for change. And while, of course, the self-interest in government officials, corrupt people, preying on the downfall of their own people, is not inevitably the best idea. When those people hope for change, that change inevitably trickles down to the general people of Venezuela as well. But the final way that we see that the opposition party must continue these boycotts is by taking a look at the illegitimacy of the elections to begin with. Because, in fact, we see that Maduro didn't even win the election in 2024. As a report from the US Embassy in Chile reported, on January 10th of this year, reports came out suggesting that Maduro did not win the election, and rather his opponent won by about 5%. And yet, the election was called in favor of Maduro, clearly demonstrating that the elections in Venezuela are not actual elections and are completely illegitimate. But in fact, illegitimate elections is exactly what the political opposition needs, because a report from the Brookings Institute published back in 2023 noted that illegitimate elections happening across the world allows political opposition to boycott elections without fear for political ramifications. You see, they don't have to run in elections or vote in elections and fear being removed from the government when the outcome of the election is determined before the election even begins, clearly demonstrating that there is no political consequence for running these boycotts. The political opposition already has no power in government and doesn't have to fear losing it. So today, when we return to the question, should Venezuela's political opposition continue boycotting elections, we see that the answer is absolutely, because of the benefits that it will generate. First, by creating pressure on the Maduro government. Second, by generating international support around the world. And finally, by taking a look at how illegitimate the elections are to begin with. We see that while issues across Latin America may be raging on, the issues in Venezuela could hopefully see change in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then do you want me to turn that off, by the
I
way?
got that.
Okay.
How did you feel about the camera?
The camera's fine. I mean, I've recorded enough speeches, and like I've done online tournaments before, so like it's not an issue.